Courage in the Shadows. Before we start, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and please hit the bell. In the quiet town of Eldridge, nestled between rolling hills and dense forests, there existed a small library, a charming yellow brick building with ivy crawling up its walls. It was here, amidst the dusty books and whispers of stories left untold, that 18-year-old Clara Bennett spent most of her time. An introverted girl with a passion for reading, Clara found solace in fiction. But reality was a different story. Clara had always felt out of place. A timid girl with a wild imagination, she often found herself drowned in her thoughts while others laughed and socialized around her. At school, words were like a labyrinth. Her anxiety twisted them into knots that suffocated her voice. She was the girl who sat alone at lunch, the one who quietly slipped into the background during group projects, overshadowed by the vibrant personalities of her peers. Yet within the pages of those books, Clara discovered strength. She lost herself in tales of heroism, adventure, and love, stories where characters faced insurmountable odds and emerged victorious. It was through these narratives that she dreamed of making a difference, but fear held her back from stepping into her own story. One summer evening, while sorting through a pile of returned books at the library, Clara stumbled upon an old, leather-bound volume tucked away on the highest shelf. Drawing it out, a layer of dust danced in the evening light that filtered through the window. The title, Courage in the Shadows, was embossed in gold and seemed to beckon her to explore its secrets that as she flipped through its pages. Clara found tales of individuals who, against all odds, embraced their fears and changed the world around them. Each story unfolded with a vividness that electrified her spirit. There was the tale of a young girl who stood up against bullying, offering friendship instead of retaliation. Another recounted a soldier who faced his deepest fears to rescue comrades in danger. The stories ignited something within Clara, a flicker of hope that maybe she too could find her voice. That night, sleep came reluctantly, her mind racing with thoughts of the characters who had displayed such bravery. Clara decided she had to do something. Inspired by the stories she had read, she resolved to help those around her in her own, quiet way. The opportunity presented itself sooner than expected. The following week, news broke in Eldridge about a local community garden project aimed at providing fresh produce to families in need. The project had received a generous grant, but the committee was struggling to rally volunteers to transform the neglected land into a flourishing garden. Clara's heart raced with determination. This was her chance to make a difference. The very thought of standing in a group, speaking to strangers, sent her heart into a frantic rhythm. But memories of the courageous figures from the book anchored her resolve. With every ounce of willpower, she signed up to volunteer. That on the morning of the project, Clara stood at the garden, taking deep breaths as she watched other volunteers arrive. Families, friends, and neighbors filled the space, their laughter and excitement overwhelming her senses. For a moment, doubt crept in, whispering that she didn't belong, that she would simply fade into the background. But then she remembered the stories, the girls who stood up, the soldiers who ran into danger, the heroes who weren't defined by their fears but by their courage to face them. Clara walked forward, heart pounding but determined. She approached a group digging in the dirt, taking the plunge into her own narrative. "Hi, is there anything I can help with?" Her voice surprised even herself. It was steadier than she had anticipated. The group paused, surprised by the soft-spoken girl who had ventured into their midst. A friendly woman named Laura smiled warmly. "Of course. We're clearing out this section for tomato plants. Would you like to help?" As Clara knelt in the soil, hands digging in the warm earth, she felt a sense of belonging begin to bloom. Laughter filled the air, and before long, she found herself engaged in conversation. She listened to stories of the volunteers, shared her thoughts, and even made a new friend in Laura who invited her to join a book club. Days turned into weeks, and the garden flourished, a vibrant testament to the collaboration of the community. Clara's heart swelled with pride every time she ventured there. It had transformed from an empty patch into a thriving sanctuary filled with life and laughter. But the garden was just the beginning. One evening, as Clara watered the plants, she noticed a small child standing hesitantly at the edge of the garden, eyes wide with curiosity. The girl looked lost, her expression mirroring Clara's old feelings of isolation. Driven by a newfound courage, Clara approached her. "Hi there. Would you like to help me water the flowers?" she asked, kneeling to meet the child's gaze. The girl's face lit up, and she quickly nodded. Clara showed her how to hold the watering can correctly, the two of them giggling as a little water splashed onto the ground rather than the plants. That moment was monumental. Clara's heart swelled with the feeling she had long sought, the joy of connection. With each day, Clara found her voice more clearly. She took on responsibilities in the garden, leading groups of children and planting flowers, teaching them how to care for the earth. As she spoke, her anxiety began to fade, replaced by conviction. Her fear had transformed into a powerful drive to inspire the next generation to take action in their community. The local news even caught wind of their project, publishing an article about the community garden, highlighting Clara's integral role in its success. For the first time, she felt recognized, not as the shy girl in the background, but as a valuable contributor to something meaningful. As the summer drew to a close, Clara organized a harvest festival to celebrate their efforts. Families gathered in abundance, laughter and joy echoing in the air. As Clara stood before the crowd, she felt the familiar pang of nerves, but the courage she had cultivated over the summer surged within her. "Thank you all for believing in this project," she began, her voice steady. "This garden isn't just a place to grow food. It's a testament to what we can achieve together, no matter how small we start." Cheers erupted from the crowd, and Clara couldn't help but smile, her heart bursting with gratitude. She was finally ready to step into her own story, a story steeped in courage, resilience, and hope. As the sun set over the garden, casting a golden hue across the faces of her newfound friends, Clara realized that courage isn't the absence of fear. It is the determination to act despite it. She had found her voice in the shadows, transforming it into a light that inspired not just herself, but an entire community. And in that moment, surrounded by the laughter of children and the warmth of connection, Clara knew she had finally become the hero of her own story.